Cantwell, thank you.
Thank you. Senator Budd.
I thank the chair. Mr. Nolen, welcome. It's good to chat with you earlier. And, you know, I was listening to a colleague from across the aisle a few minutes ago from Colorado, and, you know, it struck me how much I appreciated your aviation experience, your service to our military. You know, it would just make sense. Common sense seems not so common anymore, but, you know, it would just make sense that somebody leading the Federal Aviation Administration would actually have aviation experience. So I appreciate the experience that you bring to the table. You know, on the morning when this issue occurred, an exchange between air traffic control and a pilot at Newark Airport sums up some of the broader issues with the NOTAM system that go beyond this specific outage. ATC was talking to an airplane that was, or to a pilot of an airplane that was taxiing out for departure, and told the pilot about the nationwide ground stop. ATC asked the pilot if he had heard anything about the NOTAM's issue before departure. The pilot responded, "No, nobody reads NOTAMs." Well, maybe that's because the NOTAM system is not designed in a user-friendly way. The FAA's new federal NOTAM website, it's a little better, but it does not prioritize important NOTAMs, and it delivers it in a printed code that is optimized for teletype machines instead of plain English. I'll give you an example, as you would know. So I've printed this out. No environmental impact study was done before, but I printed out the NOTAM from the federal NOTAM system for a flight from DC back to my home airport near Winston-Salem. It's a 90-page document for a simple flight, about an hour long. If I didn't review the list closely, I might have missed the NOTAM for a runway closure in my designated alternate airport. The NOTAM, it's buried on page 4 somewhere in here, between 13 other runway and taxiway NOTAMs. So, Chair, I'd like to ask for unanimous consent that this briefing be included in the record.
Without objection.
Thank you. You know, pilots can consult other free resources provided by the FAA, like Leidos Flight Service. That system does have a summary of important NOTAMs, like temporary flight restrictions, or TFRs, and runway closures, but that system missed the runway closure NOTAM on the summary page. Here's the summary page, and it doesn't have that important NOTAM. So I would have had to find that runway closure NOTAM on page 53 of a 276-page briefing. So, Mr. Nolen, aside from the issues faced last month, what is the FAA doing to bring NOTAMs into the 21st century?
Well, thank you, Senator Budd, for the question. This is exact. You know, again, you're in a, we share that we're both pilots, so we operate in the nation airspace here. This is part of our modernization effort. We committed that we will align our NOTAM with the ICAO standard, that we will make them timely, we will make them relevant, and the ability to prioritize by, as you say, by route of flight. So that's a part of the work is ongoing. Where we are today, we're, you call it halfway there. They are searchable. You can find the ones that are relevant to your flight. But this is the one we've just got to do better, and that better means getting off of the U.S. NOTAM system onto the federal NOTAM system, and the last part of that is ensuring now that our NOTAM systems comports to the ICAO standard.
Thank you very much for that answer. So it makes sense to have flight restrictions around major games like last weekend's Super Bowl or, you know, the upcoming Daytona 500. And those TFRs are announced well in advance and cover much more airspace to provide appropriate security for those special events. But stadium TFRs and the exception to those TFRs, they seem designed to trip up small planes flying VFR. So, Mr. Nolen, are you aware of any instances where a 3-mile, 3,000-foot TFR thwarted a threat from the air?
I am not.
Okay. Well, Mr. Nolen, my time is short, but again, I want to just, again, thank you for what you bring to the table, for your expertise in the aviation field and your leadership of the FAA. As a pilot myself, I'm glad that a fellow aviator is at the helm of this important agency, and I hope that we can get a permanent head of the FAA that has a deep understanding of the issues facing aviation today. Thank you so much, and I yield back.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.